Okay, we are live now.
Good.
Namaste. Uh, sub, how are you doing, Dr. P?
I was good until now.
Yeah, I can understand your predicament. So this FB Live today is going to be very, very interesting and also path breaking in more than one way, because we are going to touch upon a very critical aspect of Sanatan Dharma, which our ancients had clearly outlined for us, but because of some centuries of uh, delay and misunderstanding and our conflicts with other evil ideologies, we lost it somehow, and now is the time to regain it. So the premise of today's discussion is the first shloka of the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, where Shri Krishna says that I have spoken this wisdom and this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, all the Sankhya, Mimamsa, the Karma Yoga, the Gyan Yoga, the Bhakti Yoga, and everything to Surya. Surya then said it to Manu. Manu then said it to Ikshvaku, and Ikshvaku gave it to the rishis of the Bharatvarsha. So then Arjun questions ki, excuse me, you are here right now in front of me, and you are saying that you did this that many ages before. So actually, I'm a little disoriented about the timeline here. And then we sit down to understand that Yogeshwar, the Purushottam, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, when he's saying something, there has to be a meaning in it. And I would request Dr. P to take us through this whole idea of Samay and Kal as we are understanding it with our linear understanding, to take us around the three aspects of it: Satkaryavad, the eternal now, and the Vedantic understanding of Kala. So over to you, Dr. P. I'll be interrupting you in between when we have some question and we are not quite understanding what's going on. But please take us through this maze of Samay and Kala.
So, how much time do we have?
We are about an hour or so.
Okay. So, let's. What I realized when we were discussing the Gita was that our fundamentals need work. Most of us have been trained in Western logic, and even Western logic, there was old-fashioned Western logic. Western logic has progressed a lot in the last 100 years, but we have not caught up to it, especially with quantum physics and Einsteinian advances in time and even in philosophy. So, our understanding is not only not advanced in Eastern logic, it is not advanced in Western logic. So, the whole premise was to make us uh, start thinking in a different way, start looking in a different way, because we can't understand the master, the absolute heights of our darshana when we don't even have a grounding in it. So,
Absolutely.
so to understand time itself is a conundrum, very difficult, because time is, as our some of our granthas in Shaivism say, or actually Kashmiri Shaivism, is uh, time is a tattva, and it's a tattva that is pure and impure, and it's a tattva that holds us back. It holds the individual awareness from becoming free. So until we are free of time, we're not really free. Now, how do you get free of something you don't even understand? So I will give you an example, right? And we'll just to understand the challenge of time. And let's go back to the Western concept of time. Western concept, the Newtonian concept was time is something outside. There's an absolute time. That's,
Yeah,
that is always happening. There is always going on like a stream, river going, flowing, and we measure it and we live according to it.
Absolutely. That was there.
right?
Yeah.
And even the terminologies were given to us. The calendar was given to us. This is how a day is defined. 365 days to a year, everything was defined. And it
Everything
started
was demarcated. Yeah.
2020 years ago, and it was Anno Domini. Before that, it was before Christ. So everything the terminology you use is messed up. So if the terminology you use, your concepts are going to be messed up. So, and how is time measured? Can you tell me how time is measured? You
Time is measured in.
use your watch, right? I don't wear it, but use
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
watch,
You have
right? So focus on this for a moment. Time is what? Change. Every moment there is gati going on,
Gati. Yeah.
right? So time is gati going on. How would you measure gati? So the way we measure gati is with the watch, which itself is gatiman. So
Yep.
you are measuring gati with another gati,
Yeah. Yep.
whether it's atomic clock, the movement of the atom, whether it's the turning of a wheel, whether it's a pendulum. So I say, okay, measure time. Time is gati. So you give me a system to measure it, which is another gati. You're still caught in the same trap.
Absolutely. Yeah. You are
You're measuring
you're in
movement.
chaos.
You're measuring movement with movement.
Too.
It's only relatively, this clock works at this speed, so your time is this. So you're measuring yourself against an arbitrary movement, which is periodic, which is linear, and that's how our minds are structured. So our education process has structured us to think that there is a past, there is a present, and there's a future. That's the regular mundane time we think of. ये किया कल, ये आज हो रहा है, और ये कल मुझे
Kal
चाहिए.
hoga.
So memory, because we don't know what past is, right? Until there is memory. What has happened in the past doesn't exist anymore, right? You saw patients this
It's
morning,
gone.
or right? You rounded in the hospital, it's gone. It doesn't
It's gone.
exist. Where does it exist?
Memory.
Memory. So suppose you don't have any memory, where is it? It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
And where is future?
Which is not there.
Future doesn't
It's
exist.
in my frontal lobe. I'm imagining it.
So it's all projection, it's all desire, right?
Absolutely.
Your fears, your anxiety, you're projecting,
Ambitions.
right? So you're always trying to live in the past or live in the future. But really, do you ever live in the past? Can you live in some place or something which doesn't exist? It's all in your memory. So
Yeah.
we have this.
You can't.
So what is the only time you can live in?
The present.
Present. That's it. You cannot live in the past. Even right now, 9:39 p.m., whatever seconds, even if we take this arbitrary thing as number as our time,
Exactly. This
only
is it.
now,
This is what we've got. Yeah.
only now is where you're aware. Only now is where you're present.
Yeah.
And present has two ways, right? Beautiful pun. You are present in the present. When you're present, the present exists, right? If you are not present, if your brain is somewhere else,
Yeah.
you're
Is
not
yeah.
living. You're not living. You're not aware. The moment you become aware, you're present. You're in the present. Vartaman. So the challenge for us, because we live in the mind and desire and moving, we're always living from past to future because we live in memory and we live in desire. The moment you start becoming aware, the moment you drop memory, because memory itself is just what your senses are giving you, and your brain is interpreting that sensory data. It's all memories, and trying to remember the interpretation of the data that it got. Suppose you drop it and you're totally aware right now, then you're in the present. What they say, be here now, right? Be present. What happens to time? Right now, if you are in the Vartaman, just being aware, where is time? There is no such thing as
There is
time.
no
It's
time.
only a concept, right? In fact, some of our, now I'm going to go over different darshanas. I just want you to be understand this. If we have a grounding in our darshanas, then we can think and understand what Sri Krishna is saying. To reach,
Mm.
to start understanding him, we have to understand all these things. Just like we did
Absolutely.
Sankhya. We did Sankhya before. What does he mean when he says Sankhya? What does he mean when he says yoga? And then he brought Sankhya and yoga together, and bhakti, Vaishnava bhakti, the atheism of Sankhya, the theism of Vaishnava bhakti, the karma of yoga, all that into one unified approach, right? Which is the yoga of the Gita or yoga of Sri Krishna, where karma, bhakti, and jnana are become one. They're not separate. So you can't understand what he did until you understand what Sankhya is, what yoga is, what bhakti is. So same thing he did with all these different concepts, like which are inherent in Sankhya, like Satkaryavad. And he talks about time. He says something beautiful in the 11th chapter. He says, Kalosmi, right? I am time. And it was
Yeah.
translated as, I am become time, the destroyer of the world. So he's showing him his Vishwarupa, and I am, all that is time is I am that. And I'm here to destroy these worlds. All those people you think you're killing, I've already taken them. They're already destroyed. I've already swallowed them. And all these are coming in his mouth, in his Vishwarup, and they're already swallowed. And he's showing him the time. He's showing him what has already happened. Remember this. It has already happened in Sri Krishna's chit. It is done. All these yodhas are done. They are dead. As Kala, he has swallowed them. Now time is only an unfolding into what has already happened. Think about it. What he is saying. These yodhas are already dead. Where are they dead? In Arjuna's sense, they're not dead, they're here. In his chitta, in Sri Krishna's chitta, they're already dead. And time is unfolding to reach what he already holds in his chitta. So the Karana is his chitta. So this is a reversal of time. Usually what happens, you want to reach a certain goal. You want to reach, or you want to study something, you read up, you learn the knowledge, then you get your exam, take your exam, you get the degree. Here is the reversal. Here you have already done the exam, you already passed it. Not intellectually, not theoretically, you have already passed your exam. Now you're just an unfolding to make it happen. In Sri
But
Krishna's
only for Sri Krishna. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
only for Sri Krishna, right?
yes, yes. Why? Because Sri Krishna is living in the consciousness that is the Karana. And I will go over different philosophies to make you understand this. Okay? I just want you to understand this reversal, complete reversal that has happened.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay?
I'm with you. Yeah.
So, for example, I tell you, I'm going to create this hospital in India for our poor people, right?
Yeah.
In Delhi. And then I said, it is already done.
Mm.
Now you're just going through the everything that happens is to show us, to unfold what has already happened. His awareness that is living as the Karana places the Karana before the Parinam. The Karan is in the Parinam, and the Parinam is the Karana. The result
So
is the cause.
is it because of see, for me, it's my immense trust in Sri Krishna which would relate to his truth. as he has already seen it. But for me, as Omendra Ratnu,
Yes.
I have no idea. For me, there is only sankalpa, there is only a plan, and there is an ambition to create a hospital. That's all
Yes.
that I have.
Right. So we're going to reverse the process. Once you start reversing the process, you'll start understanding time.
Yep.
And we will go through this, right? So understand how our different concepts, right? One is, let's talk about Satkaryavat.
Satkaryavad. Yes.
Satkaryavat. Satkarya. Sat is truth, existence. Difficult to translate Sanskrit words into
Yeah,
English.
it's a non-translatable. Yes.
Sat is that which never can be destroyed. It never changes, eternally unchangeable,
Wow.
pure, untouchable.
Yes.
How
What
do I
is?
translate?
Yeah.
What is, right?
Yeah.
So, Sat Karya. Karya is the end, the result, whatever
Yes.
work is being done. So, the Satkaryavad says that the result is already inherent in the cause. In fact, the result is substantially the same as the cause. Remember this. Substantially the same as the cause.
Yeah.
Result does not come from thin air. Result is only coming from whatever is already existent.
Yes.
Okay?
That makes sense.
And all the results of Prakriti are coming from one source. That is the Purusha.
Okay.
The original cause is the Purusha,
The Purusha. Yeah.
which is causeless,
Which itself is causeless. Yeah.
which was unborn, unmade, eternally existent Purusha. How do we know
Yep.
this? Is this theory or is this real? Can this be experienced? So Sankhya says you can experience it, and Sankhya approaches it through intellect, through analysis, enumeration. That's what Sankhya means. It enumerates. So Satkaryavad is a very important aspect of Sankhya.
But Satkaryavad is the best exemplified by a beej, right? A seed.
You can take
Right?
that as an example.
That's the best example. Yeah.
Well, there
But
are
seed has a tree in it. It is not. It's only unmanifest tree. Right.
right.
Yeah. That we can relate to that. Yeah.
So if you remember the old movies, we used to have the reel,
Yeah.
right? And every frame had the same thing but slightly moving. Like this. So if you run them, it looks like I have moved like this. Remember that? It would be run in front of the projector. So every step like this, it would like I have moved. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just photography at different stills, different frames.
Right.
So if I'm holding the reel in front of you, is anything happening?
Nope.
It's only happening when I run it.
Yes.
Then you see the movement.
Yes.
So can you tell me if the seed is in the first frame and the tree is in the 100th frame, can you tell me if they are both there? Or did the seed come before the tree or the tree come before the seed? Which came first?
They're
You
both
don't
there.
know.
They're both
right?
there.
So the seed is the tree is the seed.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes, that
The cause is the effect. So I want you to focus on this. If the cause is the effect, then Sat is running through and through everything that is happening. And everything is happening at the same time. All the things are moving, everything around. My children are running, and somebody comes at the door, and this bulb is going off, and hands are moving.
And even the molecular level.
Innumerable activities are happening at the same time. But as we have agreed, that in this consciousness that is in the present, they're all here. There is no past. It is all here.
It's all here. Yes. Yes. Satkaryavad is, yeah. Satkaryavad is taken care of, yes.
Is everything is already here, right? Or if this is a match and I burn it and becomes fire, fire is already in here,
Absolutely.
in the match.
Yes.
Kinetic and potential energy has become kinetic energy. Energy is the same,
True.
right? So everything that is happening has the same truth, which is unchanging, which is now. That's why we call it Ananta Vartaman. We are eternally living only in the Anant. There is no way we can live in the past, because past doesn't exist. Our concept is Ananta Vartaman, eternal present. There is never will be a time where you can say, oh, I'm going to live 5 minutes behind the present. You can't. So once we understand Ananta Vartaman, we will understand that time is seen very differently by our logic, our darshanas. Time can be cyclic. Time can be all eternally now. Time can even be linear, though we don't accept it as the complete truth. Time is running from past to present to future. That's a very early stage. When you start understanding time, and you understand that time is change, then all you have to do to understand time totally is to step out of it. You cannot understand time as long as you're in it. The only way to step out of time is to go to the Purusha. Be the Purusha, which you already are. You are the Purusha. So all you have to drop is the illusion of time. Okay? So I can't hear you. I can't hear you, Omendra. So let's talk about Kala itself. Kala is the unfolding of the cause into the effect. It is not something outside this movement. The potential becoming reality. I can't hear you. So if we understand that Kala is the potential becoming reality, it is the seed becoming the tree, then we realize that time is not separate from the movement. And the only way to understand time is the awareness that sees the movement and identifies it with words or with concepts has to free itself from these words and these concepts. We give certain tags to certain experiences. So we say time. Is there such a thing as time? Can you show me where time is? Can you hold it for me? Time is here. It is a concept that we have lived with and has become a reality for us. So it has become intertwined with our awareness. And we have taken it as the truth because of our training, our education, and our language, and our words. So until we free ourselves from these words and these concepts, it is almost impossible to understand Sri Krishna at an experiential level, intellectually, mentally. How do we understand him? we need to understand the concept of time. Or rather, we need to free ourselves from the concepts of time as they have been given to us. So, traditionally, Samaya is measured as past, present, future. The way Kala is measured, at least understood in our darshana, is an organic movement. And when you come to something like Pratitya Samutpad,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
Sorry. Yeah.
So we
Pratik
were talking.
Sampad.
So we have talked about Satkaryavat,
Mm-hmm. The
right?
eternal now.
We've talked about the effect being inherent in the cause, substantially the same as the cause, and the true cause of Prakriti being Purusha. That's Satkaryavat. So remember this. Now there is something called Asatkaryevad. Asatkaryevad is the effect comes from nowhere. Effect does not come from the cause. Asatkaryevad. Sankhya,
Is that a philosophy?
yeah,
I mean,
we have thought of everything. We have gone
oh,
deep into everything. It is not that we rejected it. We even discussed. Can you imagine all our great minds going over it in depth and going in discourse, not arguing, but really trying to understand this? And it
yeah.
was not through logic that
That's
they
a
figured it.
scientific way of doing it. Yeah.
It was not through logic. It was through living it, through
Experience.
realization, and then sharing it with other great rishis and yogis. And they would listen to the other yogis' experience and say, ah, your experience is deeper than mine. I need to accept you as the teacher in this. That is
ठीक
the
है.
meaning of Shastrarth. Our Shastrarth was not a debate, was not
Yep.
an intellectual debate. Anyway, so Asatkaryevad is when the effect comes from nowhere. And the original philosophies of Nyaya and Vaisheshika used to use Asatkaryevad.
Okay.
But Sankhya said, and Ishwar Krishna, beautiful shlok, he says, a Sat cannot give birth to Sat. That
ठीक है.
which does not exist cannot give birth to something that exists. So Sankhya really became the predominant philosophy. Vedanta also took Satkaryavad as the basic premise. Now,
If I can just give a half a minute interjection, this is as a
yeah,
child, I asked this question to a very, very renowned Hindu saint in front of good, I think 3-4 thousand people, and I was like 10 years or 9 years of age, and I said, "You're saying this world is an illusion. So are you saying this world is asat?" And the saint said, "Yes, this world is asat." I said, "In this world, you realize Paramatman. So Paramatman is Sat or Asat?" He said, "Paramatman is Sat." I said, "Excuse me, how can you realize a Sat Paramatma from an Asat world?" So they started mocking me and all that. But I'm saying that like I was born with Satkaryavad, I think.
yeah, then
Just,
you lost it. So we have to bring you back in. So let's go
so,
back to Satkaryavad also has two different aspects to it, two different understandings. One is Parinamavad. Cause becomes effect. Okay?
okay.
Seed becomes tree. There's a Parinam. Shankaracharya did not agree. Shankaracharya says, no, it is not becoming a Parinam. You are seeing a transition. You're just observing a phase change. It is like water becoming
It
ice.
is, yeah, the seed is the tree, right? Okay. What did
Yeah,
Shankar say then?
Shankara says it's a change in observation. Vivartvad. Vivartvad is not understood. Vivartvad people think is illusion. Vivartvad is not illusion. Vivartvad is change of phase, like ice becoming water, water becoming vapor. Has anything changed? Just
Yeah,
the
nothing.
phase has changed. Nothing new has come.
So how is it different from Parinamvad?
Parinam is a different thing has come. The seed is different from the seed's reality is different from the tree. The seed caused something came out of the seed. He says no. The water, the ice is the same H2O as the water is the same H2O as the vapor.
And the implication being that nothing new is born. So Satkaryavad is actually reinforced by Adi Shankara's interpretation.
So Adi Shankaracharya, remember, he's not understood properly. So let's go back. I wanted to slow this down. Suppose I take this stick, and burn it. Now you have fire and light. And you said something new came out, but that something new was already in the stick. Parinam, there's a new parinam, something changed.
Yes. Yeah.
Shankara says there's no new parinam, it is still the same thing. Your phase, your way of looking has changed. Your brain is not picking it up, that it is still the same. Nothing has changed. That H2O is still H2O.
Okay.
Brahman Satyam.
Okay.
It always is there. Brahman is always there. What you are seeing is a phase change. It's a Vivartavad. It's only Vivartan. You think
so
there is a
transition. What does it mean practically?
Practically, it brings you to the Mahavakya of the Vedantis. Sarvam Brahman.
Okay.
No matter what it changes to, it is still the Brahman.
It is still the Brahman, yeah.
Right? So it is not becoming asat. It is not becoming sat is not coming out of asat. Asat, sat is not becoming asat. It is not becoming mithya. Sarvam Brahman.
Sarvam.
Time is Brahman. Timeless is Brahman.
Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kinchit jagatyam jagat. Same?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's go a little forward. From Satkaryavad, we came to eternal now. Now take us to the Vedantic understanding.
Okay. Let's try to understand what happens with Vedanta. If you say everything is Brahman, if you realize this, when you realize this, Sarvam Brahman, if everything is Brahman, right, this looks like a pen and this looks like a bottle, but they're all both Brahman. You are Brahman, the so-called you, and this so-called person is Brahman. So what is there? This is just a roop, akar, and there is gati, there is movement. So is this form in front called Dr. Omendra with his akar and gati. Right? All there is akar and gati, which has been given a name, nama, rupa. And we tag ourselves to that now. Okay, this is Omendra, this is Pariksith. But these are all tags. They're not coming around with tags on them. If you really look at it, this is an akar.
Yeah, for understanding, we give them names. So that
for understanding, we'll take away all the names now. What happens with you take away all these names which are artificially given by us? All these concepts. What does the world look like? Akara or gati? Even akara or gati saying is a problem. Right? If all is Brahman, where is the differentiation? Yes, there is awareness of the differentiation. But you cannot say something is separate. Yeah, I will come to that, Deepakji. Vyavaharik Vedanta is something that we will come.
First, let's understand the idea. Like, what is the idea?
So we are jumping. We in 36 minutes we have jumped from a very early understanding to a very fast movement into a Vedantic understanding. People
I thought we are going good. I mean, if you're going fast, then you please slow us down.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
up to
yeah,
you. You're the
yeah.
teacher.
So yeah, I'm not the teacher. I will. I'm here to exercise your brains, and so that you start understanding it. Because
That's
eventually the guru is inside you.
yeah.
That is the guru.
Yep.
But and you have, we have great teachers. So I think Sri Krishna himself is. You can't have a better teacher than Sri Krishna. So let's learn from him. So why did we go into this whole roundabout understanding of Kala? To know that Sri Krishna is not saying something that we just have to take at face value. We can experience all this, we can live all this, and we are all this. Other paths, other denominations, if we may want to call them denominations, you have to take things at faith. Some voice came and said, I'm before time and after time. You just, okay, we accept it. You either believe it or don't believe it. Here you experience what he's experiencing. He's giving you the experience by making you understand. And this is how the concept was reached. Understanding Kala makes you understand what he's talking about. His awareness is wider than Kala itself. He's free of the movement of Kala, and yet he is Kala, right?
Yes.
So because he's before the effect and the original cause, he is the Karana. He's before time, before the movement. Any movement that happens, he's before that.
So if somehow I'm able to realize that I am also part of the same Brahman, I reach the level of consciousness of Sri Krishna, and I too become the Karana. Can this be said?
You have to do a lot of yoga for that, but you can, if you can even touch Sri Krishna's awareness, that's a good start. Again,
No,
that's why
I'm
he's,
asking a fundamental question. That when the Rishi says Aham Brahmasmi or
yes,
Tattvamasi Shvetaketu,
yes.
so that's because I'll just narrate a small incident to make it a little spicy. During the 1857 mutiny, there is a beautiful incident narrated by a British officer. He says that when a sepoy, a British soldier, stabbed a sadhu in an ashram, mistaking him to be a freedom fighter or something. So with holding the bayonet, he says, and dying, blood is oozing from his mouth, and because his lung was ruptured, and he says, "Tattvamasi Shweta Ketu."
Yeah.
And this British guy, he says, "What was that?" And he goes back and he finds out that this is what he said to me, and then some of the teachers told him this is what he meant, and he became a sadhu and all that. So that level of consciousness, where even the murderer, the killer becomes the
If
Brahman itself.
everything is the Brahman, then the killer
Everything
is
is
the
the
Brahman
Brahman.
too.
So who's killing
Yes.
and who's dying? Who's getting killed?
And
So
we will
my
come to that.
question is, if somehow, how do we do it? Is what Deepak is asking, and we'll reach there. But in principle, if I'm able to reach to that level of consciousness, I mean, to call it that level is just a verbal jugglery. But somehow, if we are able to see it as the Brahman, then we are the Karana, right? That's why Shri Krishna is able to say, if we take Shri Krishna to be a human being who's an avatar of the Purushottama, then he's able to say that because he is actually seeing it from that consciousness. So maybe we too can do that. Is that the right understanding?
That is the only understanding.
Oh, thank you. Then how to do it? That's a different ball game altogether.
Chandogya, right? Remember, so this is what has happened because we have been brainwashed. We have forgotten what we already are, what we already know. If you go back to the Chandogya, I don't know if it's sixth or seventh shloka, Amritasya Putra, you are child of of
Amrita.
immortality, Amrita, right? So you as a child of immortality is saying, can I reach that? Isn't that shameful? To even be in this point, can I reach that? Why shouldn't you?
True.
Would the child of immortality say such a thing unless the child has been brainwashed into thinking that you are a nincompoop? This
Or immortal.
constant, so constant sanshaya, doubt, and disbelief has been created as part of the skepticism that is part of a Western education, which has its own place. Nothing wrong with that. So
Yes.
we are willing to give away our knowing what I know, and we are willing to surrender it to a guru instead of knowing it ourselves, which is the real thing. The guru is here, right? That Krishna is here,
Absolutely.
right? So that
If
is
you
why
don't understand, then there's no point.
there's no
Related
point.
to Krishna.
So coming back to Vedantic understanding of time, I'm going to
Yes.
confuse you further. In Vedanta, there is no category of time. Okay,
Like there's not
that
even an
doesn't.
eternal now, right?
No, eternal. Everything is now. Everything is Anant is Vartaman, and Vartaman is Anant.
Shashvat Vartaman, right? Eternal now.
Yeah, that which is universal and that which is eternal.
But then that is a unit of time. Howsoever.
What is the unit of time?
Shashvat now. That's that we
It's
have
not a
defined
unit
time.
of time.
No.
Time is your linear measurement, right? It's 10:12 p.m. What 10:12 p.m. is there? What time is now, Omendra ji? It is now. And what time is now? It is still now.
Yeah, but
So,
we are
what?
compartmentalizing it, even if eternal.
Why are you compartmentalizing? See,
No.
Vedanta is very simple. Very simple. Sarvam Brahman.
Yeah, I'm saying.
So,
Let me be the devil's advocate here. Eternal now and Sarvam Brahman are different. That's what I'm trying to
why?
say.
Why are they different?
Because eternal now still puts me in a time frame.
No,
Howsoever
it is
eternal
not.
I might think it to be.
So let me read you. What was that? Brahma Sutra. That now is not in time. Let me see if I can find that line for you. Now is not time.
Okay.
Now is
Okay.
absence of
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Now is not time. Yeah, you're right. Now is not time. Yeah, we can say that.
आप सोच अभी भी आपके दिमाग में वही लिनियर है कि नाव में हूँ फिर मैं आगे बढ़ गया फिर मैं आगे बढ़ गया I've reached to a
और
new
now मेरे साथ
point.
चल रहा है.
There's no chalna. Now is now.
Yeah, because that vastness is scary.
That's why you said I can if I can reach that, can I touch Sri Krishna, be like Sri Krishna? And now is who was that writer? Eckhart Tolle, who wrote a whole
Eckhart
book
Tolle.
on the power of now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The whole his whole book is based on just one thing. So anyway, let's come back to
Vedantic.
focus ourselves. If everything is Brahman and there is movement, which every movement is Brahman at each point, that all that is happening is the unfolding of Brahman to itself.
Yes.
Which is why we call it Krishna Leela.
Wow.
It is Brahman becoming aware of its own unfolding.
Wow, that's
which is
beautiful.
always Brahman.
This is beautiful.
So
that's why it's Leela, because it's revealing to itself. There's आप ही माता, आप ही पिता, आप ही गोदन हारे, अपनी गोद में आप ही खेले, बन बन के नंद लाले.
right.
Wow,
So where are the demarcations that we are putting in? These demarcations are false, right? Most of these things that we have taken as granted. So Manish ji asked, now is a state. Is now a state? Yeah, yesterday I read something very nice. Through words we reach to a realm which is not a place. So it is not a place, it is not in space, it is this now is not in time. if I'm explaining it to you, which took you a little while, but now is absence of time. Is it a
Yep.
state? Yes, it is, or you can call it uh, that which is not a state. Problem is we relate everything, all our words are related to concrete things or feelings or sensations. That is why when we use now, we still connect it to time, a linear time. We have to understand that our words, our language are limited. And Sanskrit also we have messed up. So we have to go back to the roots and understand what each term actually means. So we don't have time, but I'll quickly, since you asked me about Pratitya Samutpad, we will talk about it. I think it's a good
Yes.
time to confuse everyone more. So we will try that.
No, we
Pratitya
have
Sam.
time. We have time. We have
Okay.
20 minutes.
So Pratitya Samutpad is a beautiful understanding, which is actually linked to all this.
And
Some,
because I'm a man of names, so like this is we are talking about the Vedantic understanding of time, right? Pratitya Samutpad. We started from Satkaryavad, we came to the eternal now, and now we are at Pratitya Samutpad. Please go ahead.
so the way I could translate Pratitya Samutpad, which Vedanta translates it as codependent arising. Samutpad, you know, everything, this moment, you are feeling that everything is moving discreetly, right? This moment, light is on discreetly, my hand is moving discreetly, the fan is going on discreetly. Every sensation is coming as an independent entity. Pratitya Samutpad said, no, Sama Utpad, they're coming together. There is no separation. Sama Utpad, Utpan, they are coming together. Arising is together and codependent. Pratitya is dependent. Prati, you know Prati, right? Prati din.
Yeah, reflection.
आप
Yeah.
आपके प्रति मुझे आप आपके प्रति मुझे
प्रेम
जस्ट थियोरेटिकली
प्रेम है
थोड़ा प्रेम है,
अनुराग है
अनुराग है, ठीक है ना? सो प्रति इज टुवर्ड्स, राइट? प्रति एंड इति, प्रतीति, pratitya, iti is thus. This is how it happens.
Yeah, it is done. Yeah.
Thus, this is how it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
So pratitya is dependence
This.
towards thus. So Dalai Lama has a beautiful explanation for pratitya. He says pratitya means dependence, basically. So dependent co-arising, which means every part of your gestalt right now, every sensation is coming together, totally dependent on each other. If we
Yeah, that
remove,
makes perfect sense.
right? We're not done yet. If we remove even A is dependent on B, B is dependent on C, and all are coming together.
Okay.
Yes? And if we take out A, B and C also disappear because they are all together. So people
Okay.
complain. People complain about their lives. Oh, I have this sad thing, this bad thing. They all come together. The yogi's awareness is able to hold all these sensations and see them as one, not as discrete entities, but all interlinked, interrelated, born at the same moment, which is now. Because there is no other moment. We agreed. At least I agreed on your behalf.
Yeah. So. Okay. Pratitya Samutpad. We have understood the theory behind it. How does it explain what Shri Krishna is saying about Kala? Like, how does
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bring it to us,
All right, let's close it.
if we can.
Let's try to
You're
close
dealing
it.
with
So practical stuff. You can do practice until you understand the theory,
absolutely
right? So I think Darpanji asked about how do we practice.
practical.
First, you have to understand the theory behind it. First, you have to understand that time does not give you the result. Kala does not give you the parinam. Karana and parinam give you the kala.
Wow, that's beautiful. That's something we should write down. Kal does not give you Karan or Parinam.
So,
Karan and Parinam give you the Kal. That's
so
beautiful.
you wanted to do your thing for the refugees 10 years ago. You had it here. You knew about it. I'm going to do it. I want to do it. Now, if you were in the Karana, you would have said it is done.
It is done. Yeah.
And then over the
True.
next 5 years, it would happen. Now, you are not aware that already it was done because your mind has sanshaya, that knowing did not translate into a full awareness. So you went through the struggle. There was sanshaya, there was bhaya, there was disbelief, there was self doubt whether I'll be able to reach that. But if you had been a Swami Vivekananda, he would have said, this is done. And then 5 years, 10 years from now, whenever the way you measure the unfolding, it happens. Or like a Sri Aurobindo saying in 1919, India is independent.
Hmm.
It is done. Everybody, all the processes, things, events will transpire to make it happen whenever that is. In our linear measurement, is going to be accounted for. By the way, Kala, you know what it means, right? Kala, Kala has two meanings. Kara is calculation or enumeration. That's where the word Kala comes.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're trying to calculate how long it's trying to unfold. Karana is becoming Parinama. You're trying to measure it. So I'll give you a story which may make you understand how a yogi makes it happen. Swami Vivekananda's story again, which is a beautiful story. I heard that few days ago. So he wanted something done, and all his disciples did all the work. Everything is done, and say, okay, we've set up everything. All the processes are in place, and let us see now. Like we say, let us see it happen. Dekhte hain. He says, no, that is not the right way to approach this.
See it.
He said, it is done. Now let us see its unfolding. Your result is already there. Now you're just seeing the unfolding for the result to be reached in time.
Okay, Dr. P, so what does it mean? Does it mean uh, again we come back to full circle to Karma Yoga, that be free of the Parinam because of when you see it from that area of consciousness, it's done. So like the whole
So
idea is to the whole
the
idea is
whole
to
idea
free
is
you
to
of the stress.
be in that
Oh,
awareness.
I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
The whole idea is to be in that awareness. Because awareness decides time. Time is a movement. If we can understand this, then we will understand the Vedantic truth. And that's why the Vedanti,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yes,
Yeah. So where was I? I got lost.
you, timeless, you were timeless.
No, I was saying something.
You
Uh,
said karma, that's right. Vinodji, that's exactly right. Kill these Kauravas who are already dead. In Sri Krishna's consciousness, they're already gone. And you will
yeah.
come to that in the 11th chapter when he shows his Vishrup. He says, these are already dead. You think you're killing them. They're already done. It's done. You
Yeah.
are
So my
just,
question, I remember
yes.
my question. When Swami Vivekananda says to his people there that No, that's the wrong way of looking at it, that ये ऐसे होगा, it's done, ये हो चुका है, तो उसका what is the practical implication of that state
Practical
of being?
is,
यार
and it's-
अभी भी झक तो मारनी पड़ेगी ना, जाकर के रजिस्ट्रेशन तो कराना पड़ेगा ना. What is the whole idea behind understanding this thing?
the idea is to understand time. The idea is to act as yogis.
And be stress free.
I don't care about stress. You can have stress, you want whatever stress you want. Understand that your darshana is entirely different from the darshana of the West. Understand your own truth. Understand your own dharma. You are living someone else's dharma. Your teachers have given you a beautiful way of thinking, logic, understanding, feeling. You don't even know it. Now, 50 years into this, now you're beginning to learn this. Isn't this? You should have known this at the age of 4.
Absolutely.
All your life you would have lived it. Tathastu. This is going to happen. And then it happens. But living in that awareness, living in that consciousness. So
we're living like what Shri Krishna says, the Swadharme Nidhanam Shreya Paradharmo Bhayavaha. The state of Hindu consciousness is so pathetic because we are living somebody else's dharma.
Yeah, we are not even thinking like Sanatanis. Our thought process is absorbed. The parinam is not what we wanted. Okay. If parinam is not what you wanted after going to the process, you're not going to any process. Parinam is, it's not even what you want. Parinam is who you are. You are the original cause. You are the Purusha. You are the Parinam. Wow. If the Purusha says something is going to happen, it is going to happen. If Prakriti is going to say something is going to happen, it's still going to be caught up in all the gunas and all the forces. So to be in that awareness, when you're no longer desirous of any result, you don't need any parinam. See, right now you need a parinam. I want to make $1 million. You want that parinam. So you're still caught up in Prakriti. If you have a preference, then you're still caught up in Prakriti. Suppose I take away the parinam. There's no problem. How do you know the parinam is not reached? Because you're still measuring it in time.
Wow. You are measuring it in time. Yes.
So
this is a paradigm shift. If you go to absolutely a timeless thing, then it's much more than nishkam karma. It's I think the best way to describe it would be the Purusha itself is speaking, and then that beautiful line.
The Purusha doesn't speak. Okay, so hold on. Purusha doesn't speak. Purusha doesn't desire. Purusha doesn't want. Whenever you say Purusha speaks, you're still not in Purusha.
Yeah.
Purusha's job is not to speak. Purusha's job is not to want. If you want something, you're not in the Purusha. And if you start crying, you ask me, okay, I wanted to make all this money, I didn't make it. I had the thing was done in my head. Then you're just playing a game with yourself. So, Karana, being Karana,
being the Karana, I think that's
is not in the realm of desire or seeking. What is meditation? Somebody had asked this question. Meditation is when you're not moving in a direction. Pravritti, when you're free of vritti, you're not moving this way, that way. Right? That's when meditation happens. When you're without direction, right?
When awareness has no direction.
When awareness has no direction. So, in that awareness, you see. Sri Aurobindo sees that India is independent. He has no personal stake in it. He doesn't tell the whole world, okay, I saw this, now I'm famous, pay me for it, I'm your guru. He doesn't say this. He's sitting quietly in his room. One disciple comes and asks him 100 times and he says, okay. as compassion towards the disciple. He says, India is free. I'm giving you my word. Now go back and do yoga. And that must have been a very pure disciple to torture his guru. And the guru says, India is free, and now go. Go do your yoga. I give you my word that India is free. That's what he says. Is free. Think about it. Sri Krishna says, these are already dead. They are already dead. If we have the self awareness, if we have that consciousness, if we have that living faith that we are truly Amritasya Putra and we start living it, and you'll have to make mistakes and you'll have to goof up and you'll have to try it out. It's like you're going to the gym, you're going to build up that muscle, and then I hope slowly, more and more, if you act from that adhyatmic bhava, then things will happen. So I'm not sure Vinodji sent this. Just to live now is time. Now is not in time. Now is a yogic process. You can call it part of your yoga. Ananta Vartman, you're already living in Ananta Vartman. You're not going to move into Ananta Vartman. You may think you are not living in Ananta Vartman. You're always in Ananta Vartman. Even if you want, you cannot get out of Ananta Vartman. You are Ananta Vartman. Now all you're doing is dropping the illusion that you are living in a linear time. I don't know if I was able to make anyone understand this, but at least understand these 3-4 things. Time is not a linear movement. Satkaryavad means the parinam is in the karana, and the karana is the purusha. That if we live in awareness, in chitta, we are in Ananta Vartaman. Pratitya Samutpad is everything in the universe is happening as one unit, codependent, together. Everything is utpanna together. Each moment. It's
codependent blossoming.
So I know there will be a lot of questions, but I hope this gives you some approach. All I can say is this is to have an approach to Sri Krishna. If we can start approaching him with a different understanding,
absolutely,
maybe we can live him more and more in our daily lives, every moment. So I know we have talked a lot. There's a lot of stuff we have talked about, and I'm happy to share answers and all. But we go back to the original shloka that brought us. So Sri Krishna can say, I gave this knowledge to Surya. That's right. So that I is not ego, right? That I is the Karana Purusha. That I is Parameshwara. Parameshwara gives it because he's free of time, and we too can be free of time, like the Parameshwara, because we are not separate from Sri Krishna. That is who we are. We just have to realize it. We keep beating ourselves up constantly because we are cynics, we are skeptics. We need to drop that. So maybe we'll start working towards that journey and do yoga as Amritasya Putra.
That is a beautiful description. Dr. P, thank you so much for your valuable time and your patience and your brilliant ways to describe all these 3 complicated principles. We'll have more on this because I think you wanted to talk more about Parinamvad and Nivartavad of Adi. Yeah,
Nivartavad. There is so much to discuss, but I think at least the basics we should all know, so we can master
That's the whole
what
idea. That's the whole idea, that we at least start separating ourselves from our intertwined lives in terms of time. So if we start a bit of disentanglement, maybe things start making sense to us.
So
Thank
I'll
you
give
so
you
much,
one last line. If
Yeah.
you drop time, what happens to the way religions are set up? The religions are linear. If you look at all religions, they are linear, except Sanatan Dharma, which is not from past to present to future. There's no
Wow, that's
greed for any result.
true. That's
You're
so
not
true.
carrying any fall. You're not carrying any baggage each moment. You're living
And
that.
somebody, yeah,
Your whole
that's
paradigm, your whole paradigm of religions collapses.
wow. That's good. And to that effect, I think Dr. Sanjay Dikshit has written a beautiful book that all religions are not the same. Although he drags down Sanatan Dharma to the level of religion for the purpose of explanation. But I'm thrilled by the whole idea that our ancients came up with the name of Sanatana. That 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 itself is timeless, right? So that's a brilliant note to end this beautiful discussion. That religion collapses under the this mammoth truth that there is no time, and only Sanatan Dharma can carry this huge, this immensity on its shoulders, that there is no time.
I'm going
Thank
to
you so much,
correct
Dr. P.
when
We'll be
there
talking
is no
more.
time. Don't there is movement. There is no categorization as time. There is movement. So
There
Sat
is just
moving
movement.
into
There's
Sat.
gati.
There is Gati. At least the way we describe it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye bye. Bye bye, Dr. P. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Mhm.